Oh, okay, so Spears have counter again. I don't know how I feel about that change. I like that they were cover. It made sense to me. Oh, okay, so we don't have auto crossbow. That kind of sucks. Especially since I had to buy Noise Blaster. I feel like auto crossbow being the basic default tool, and since it's the only one useful here in the first battle you get to use Edgar, I feel like that one should have been either the first viable or a default use, and then the first viable in South Figaro should be Noise Blaster. It makes the most sense to me. Because you can't use Noise Blaster here to any effect, and you don't really need to use Noise Blaster until South Figaro area. You can use them against the randoms in South Figaro Cave, but since auto crossbow kills everything in one hit anyway, you don't really need to use Noise Blaster. Noise Blaster's kind of useless during that section, simply because you have means to AoE insta-kill everything with Edgar and Terra. Noise Blaster's kind of pointless there. I feel like Noise Blaster first really shines in South Figaro area, where you have enemies like the Rhydon that can't be one-shot by physical attacks or auto crossbow, so confusing them is useful. You can confuse the Repo Man with the mechanics to get Vanish, stuff like that. And then Noise Blaster is really useful in Mount Colts, because you can get Gale Cut on enemies, stuff like that. It's still useful after that, but I think like the height of Noise Blaster's usefulness is South Figaro area up until like end of Magitech Research Facility. I think is the peak of when Noise Blaster is really good. I guess I'll try using Noise Blaster to see if, like, maybe there was an intention behind having it this early. So the way I see it, the only really good reason to muddle enemies if they're susceptible to it is if they can't be killed or disabled. They can't be killed in one hit, and therefore need to be disabled in some way so that you can get multiple hits on them. Or if they have some kind of effect or ability that, when muddled, would be useful against them and or the enemy party in a significant enough way to justify using it over a normal turn. Sorry in advance for any noise in the background. I'm in an area with people. I can't do anything about that right now. Hopefully these guys don't counter or something. So I see we got Remedy instead of Muddle or Imp, whichever one we normally get. I think that's a cool idea. I've always found it weird to get spells like Muddle and Imp that seem a little too either powerful or niche this early in the game. It's like Cure, okay, standard basic Final Fantasy spell. Fire, same thing. Imp? What the fuck is Imp? So I guess the rationale for removing auto crossbow is basically that since you can AoE target insta-kill everything with fire consistently anyway, it's like why use auto crossbow other than for the no MP thingy. But it's like you're not going to run out of MP. Excuse me. See, if you're watching this, funny man, that suggestion that I made to make magic spells primarily single target, basically remove free targeting. Let's see these guys counter. That would be a perfect reason to give Edgar auto crossbow or even noise blaster, because if I only have access to Locke with a single target physical attack, which is powerful enough, Terra with a physical single target attack, Edgar with a single physical target attack, those are fine enough to take out most enemies in one hit. There's some enemies that can't be taken out in one hit, or they can be with counters. Then having access to fire, single target access fire is going to be very potent, which makes it worth the MP cost and the delay for it. And this would give more incentive to use auto crossbow, as that would be your only means of hitting all targets at that time. That's something that Final Fantasy IV's The Darkness Within did at one point, was turn black magic to, not all of it was single target, some of it was, it hits all, they removed free targeting, so some of them hit all targets, but they only hit all targets, kind of like Storm does. This gives summons a more unique purpose since they hit all targets. But I think the primary reason to consider making black magic spells, or at least some black magic spells, single target only is, for one, it rewards more strategic play. You can't just, like, granted, you have a chance of being countered by magic, and granted, it does half damage. It's too easy to just hit everything, hit all targets with magic, and then just destroy. I haven't played much of the Darkness Within to really tell you how that turned out, but I think that on paper it sounds like a really good idea. Again, I can already think of some early game applications for something like that. But I definitely think that Edgar should start with a tool that does not require the player to buy. I think having to buy tools in and of itself is already kind of ridiculous, but needing to buy the very first tool that Edgar should start with, forcing the player to spend money to use the most fundamentally basic secondary mechanic of one of your main characters, is kind of nuts. And I think it makes sense that if he had to start with one of them, it should be the most simple, which is just physical AoE all for no MP. I think while Noise Blaster is fairly simple, it's not quite as simple as Auto Crossbow. Auto Crossbow kind of fits more of a default tool if there ever was one, and it serves a purpose because you can actually use it, as opposed to Noise Blaster, which you can't use that much up until this point, especially not the first time that you get access to it. And furthermore, if you were to implement the mechanic that I mentioned earlier with single target fire, that further increases the importance and use of that move. Okay. Dragoon Seal being, looks like half price? No, 1/4 price. Something like that. That's awesome. So, I haven't checked the rest of the town or anything to see if it's different, but I think that... Okay, so now I see why you did this with Mithril Pike. It's so that there isn't redundancy with Knight's Cape, which I do like. I don't like that, unless Edgar's Spear gives him a HP bonus, it's kind of redundant to put Knight's Cape on, except for stats. But, I don't know what to give the rest of my party. Like, I typically give them all Knight's Cape anyway, a lot of players don't. But no goggles, no bandana means that I don't have another relic to put on them. Unless I get a double up with Knight's Cape, which is acceptable. I guess this is an intentional design choice to limit, to slowly introduce relics into the player. The player ideally really only needs one relic at this point in time in the story, in the game. So I guess this design decision makes sense. Let's see what equipment is like in this section. Is that a new boomerang symbol? We're just not going to bother getting items because I think I'm good on all that. Oh, we don't have auto crossbow.